Time for the update on Ian, now a tropical storm, but crossing back out over the water this morning and into the afternoon as it's moving out there. It may pick up a little more strength before making its next landfall, most likely along the South Carolina coast, probably down around Charleston or maybe back towards Edisto Beach or maybe even Hilton Head. We're going to be watching as it's expected to make that turn. As I mentioned, it has weakened overnight, a tropical storm at the 8 a.m. advisory, 65 mile per hour maximum sustained winds with gusts to 75. Once it gets out over those warm waters, it may tick up a little bit in intensity. You can see at 2 o'clock that Friday position just off the coast. In fact, the eye may be starting to come ashore at that point Friday afternoon with winds around 70. It's possible it could be a little stronger, maybe a weak hurricane or certainly a very strong tropical storm at that point. We're going to be watching it. Once it comes inland and moves over land, it will weaken significantly between Friday afternoon and early Saturday morning, 2 a.m. Maximum winds now forecast from the Hurricane Center to be around 40 miles per hour, eventually becoming a tropical depression. Where it goes after there is some discussion right now. There's some uncertainty with that. So let's talk about effects to Hampton Roads, the impacts from Ian in our area right along the coast here. Ian's remnants are going to track, the center is going to track out to our west as I just showed you. We're looking general rainfall amounts 4 to 6 inches. There will be some potential for locally higher amounts, and I'll explain that as we go along. Winds generally 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts over 40 miles per hour are going to be possible, and there's certainly a chance for minor tidal flooding, but if the winds pick up from the northeast Sunday into Monday, we could actually see moderate tidal flooding as we kind of finish up the weekend and get into early next week. So let's take a little closer look, and these are 3 of the models. I have the European, the American, and the Canadian model all on this map. The Canadian runs out farther in time. That's why that line continues. The European model runs it up right into South Carolina, eventually up into western North Carolina. You can see the GFS here runs it back this way and it kind of brings it back around and then just brings it off the coast here, eventually moving it out farther. And then you can see the Canadian brings it up and again runs it kind of along the coastline. So this would certainly be a scenario where we would want to watch into early next week. The thinking right now is that this thing's going to come up, kind of stall out here as we get into Saturday, and then Sunday into Monday, eventually it moves back out, taking with it the rain. Improvements coming here by the middle of next week. That's our overall thinking, but depending on what exactly this does, that's going to have varying impacts on our weather. Take a look. This is one other model here I'll show you, and this is the graph model. You'll notice how it comes up and it brings the rain, those areas of heavy rain over our area, but then we get this dry slot on Saturday with some showers kind of filling back in as we get into Sunday, early Sunday morning. So in this case, we'll deal with a lot of rain as we go through the day, Friday and Friday evening. And then as we get into Saturday, there may actually be a little bit of a break with more potential rain Sunday and into early Monday. A lot will depend on what this thing does, whether it goes farther north, stalls out, and comes back. We'll just have to watch and keep you updated. Let's talk some more about those tides. And tide levels right now forecast to reach minor tidal flooding levels at 5.1 feet. This is at Sewell's Point. So you get above 5 feet, you get in that minor range. You're looking at 5.4 feet on Saturday. If the winds continue on Sunday and Monday from the northeast, if there's that component to the winds, then we could see moderate tidal flooding up above 5.5 feet as we get into Sunday and possibly Monday. So a lot to watch here, all depending on the track. And as I mentioned, we are looking at rainfall widespread 4 to 6 inches potentially with this system coming through. A lot of the heavier rain maybe a little farther inland, but we could see some bands where you get one heavy cell after another after another. So even closer to the coast, we could get some of those heavier amounts. And then there could be even some locally higher amounts depending on exactly where that training sets up. So that's the overall thinking. Again, a lot to watch with Ian. It is a weakening system for now. The center of that low is going to track out to the west, but we're still going to need to keep a close eye to things as we head through the weekend.